Hi, and welcome to a new edition of the Boundary Breakers Collective. This is where we bring ordinary people doing extraordinary things or extraordinary people doing ordinary things. You choose. Anyway, this is a platform where we bring people telling you stories about how they break boundaries, how they challenge the status quo, how they get out of their comfort zone and really thrive and create the life that they want, the life that they are capable of, instead of living the life that is put on ourselves by society, by parents, by education, by so many things. And I am thrilled to be here today with Karnika. Karnika is a strategic marketer, driver of disruptive innovation, and advocate for strategic partnerships to foster growth. Known for her unorthodox and pioneering approach, she effortlessly transforms ideas into compelling narratives that inspire confidence and overcome obstacles. Karnika was born in India, but has grown through many cultures and now resides in the Netherlands. And she balances multiple roles: mom, wife, sister, daughter, friends. We all recognize those. And she serves as the managing partner at Bridge Inside, the company she founded to create and deploy strategies that drive real change. Visit her website and check her on LinkedIn because she posted her first blog today and it is absolutely worthwhile. Karnika, welcome. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you. We had conversations before and you are dynamite. So I am really looking forward to have our Boundary Breakers session here.
Thanks, Helena. Thank you so much for having me. It's really funny as you were reading that. I'm not going to lie, just so the audience know, the person who wrote that is my closest friend. I couldn't write about myself. So she said, you know what? I'm going to write about you. I know you for almost 2 decades and I know what Karnika is made of. This is a big shout out to her. Thank you so much for writing that because you're spot on.
Wonderful. I like that so much. You know that women in general, they don't know enough about themselves. They don't have language to express themselves about who they are and what they are standing for. And this is such a nice exercise. I do that often when we do authentic leadership coaching, is asking them like, okay, connect with three or four of your friends, people you trust, and ask them to describe you. And all of them say, and I hear that with you also, all of them say, oh my God, I was so surprised. I was like in tears by some of the things. And I didn't expect this to be so uplifting, so supportive, so sponsoring. And so it's a very good idea. Thank you for bringing that into this talk show because it's something that I would invite everybody to do once in a while. Ask some people that love and support you to write something about you, to see, to let them know how they see you, because this is how other people see you, and we are not aware of that. Sometimes we're too shy. We think we're not enough, not good enough, things like that. And if we have access to how other people see us, it's just amazing. So thank you for that, Karnika.
Oh,
Wonderful start.
absolutely. Absolutely, Elena. So, yeah, I think that it's what you said. It's about that courage and that confidence. You use that word confidence, right? That's close to my heart. And I think that
Mhm,
because you said we grew up in these boundaries, right? And it was so
mhm.
funny because you have these norms that everybody sets for you. My parents had destined me to be a doctor. So they were determined Karnika's going to be a doctor. I would have probably been a horrible doctor. I am so happy that I did not end up on that path for the profession's sake. They have a son who's an engineer. So they were like, that makes complete sense. But my dad secretly also applied to business schools because he was like, this one's not very reliable, not sure which way she's going to go. So we're just going to give it
Mm,
a shot from both ends. And that's how I ended up in business school. I
mm,
fell into it and I realized that I love doing marketing. And everyone was like,
yeah.
oh, marketing, is that what you do? Um, yeah, my mom still tells people I get paid for talking, which is really what I do. I spend a lot of time talking, but it's about having confidence in what you think you're capable of doing. I think that's the
Absolutely.
critical part, right? It's not
Yeah.
what the society says, it's not what anybody else tells you. It's about having that validation to yourself. That's
Mhm.
what you should be seeking in these exercises, right? So when my friend writes about me or when you do these exercises, we should be seeking that validation versus a redirect. We need to also have the other C in my world, courage to be able to say, okay, I appreciate what you're saying here, but I may not completely be in line with that,
Mhm.
right? So
Yep,
confidence goes with courage to also be able to say,
absolutely.
yes, but not really my thing, or not really who I am, or not how I see myself, or redirect in, oh, wow, okay, thank you. Is that how everybody sees me? I have to then change that because that's not who I want to be.
Exactly. It's also bringing blind spots. I really like that additional level. It is bringing you the blind spots. Basically, when you ask friends to describe you, it will be, I would say, positive, and yet there will be probably very mild and loving blind spots or little things that you are not aware of. I would also say that, and I would like to put a stake in the ground for the things that are positive, the things that are good, don't push them away, own them. Because especially women, we think that we are just ordinary and we cannot boost ourselves, we cannot show ourselves fully. We might be seen as arrogant or entitled or whatever. It is just about also being able to celebrate your successes, to celebrate what you're good at, and to use the awareness and the knowledge in order to self actualize, in order to really realize what you really want, and also in order to break boundaries, to do different things, to do the things that you like, that you thrive, that are in your zone of genius. And I like to start with a question always, Kanika, and I will do that again today. And that is, what makes you a boundary breaker?
I'm glad you're asking that, Helena, because I think my biggest issue is I have no boundaries. I think that I live with the premise to not have boundaries because the moment I foresee a boundary, I have to figure out a way to go around it. That's my natural
Mhm.
behavior.
Okay.
There are
Give
no
me some
walls.
examples. Yeah, give
Yeah,
me some
there are no walls.
examples.
To me, there are no walls. You have to find a window. You have to find a bridge. The name
Mhm.
of our company, Bridge Insight, is find a bridge, find a window, find an opening, find a way out. Don't keep hitting your head against a wall.
Mm.
Boundaries are walls that we create around ourselves, right?
Yep.
I was bound to be a doctor. I did not become a doctor. I was bound to people. Many times when I speak to people for the first time, they're bound to think straight away that I have a certain accent because I'm Indian. I'm a produce of expat parents and international schools. I don't have an accent. I don't know where my accent's from, but I am
Mm.
Indian. I am Indian to sure I'm Indian at heart. And so I don't want those boundaries, those preconceived ideas of what things are and what things are not. Those are boundaries we need to forget exist. And so that's why in my world, there are no boundaries because the moment I see boundaries, that's the immediate Karnika response reaction of find a way out. Again, going back to the point we were talking about, a part of we all come with a baggage, right? So we all had our share of education, we have our networks, we have our
Exactly.
experience, we have our baseline. To top that, we need to add that courage to say, I am who I am. I know what I'm not, because
Mhm.
it's very important that we also acknowledge what we're not. And then to say, okay, but we need this set of skills to make something successful. So, how do I go get what I'm not? And
Mm.
that may be learning yourself, but that may also be bringing people into your surroundings, into your network, into your way of life, your work that can actually do what you don't do well.
Exactly. It is about surrounding you with the right team, like in business, but also in personal life, to make sure that what you don't like to do or what you're not good at is done in another way. Absolutely. Mm.
Yep. So have that courage, but then also have the confidence, know that you have the baggage, you have taken the leap of faith on yourself, right? So drive from there and then have the confidence in what you're driving for. Then I don't think that you see boundaries, opportunities.
That's a beautiful reframing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the thing is that if you break boundaries, especially if you break societal boundaries, if you don't do what is expected from you by your family or by your community, there's a lot of judgment involved. People tell you like, okay, this is wrong, you are crazy, this is not what you're supposed to do, you will not end up fine, this is etc etc. Probably you have heard these things also. So if you look back at your upbringing, your education, how did your parents support that no boundaries, no limit mindset, or how did they try to contain it? What was it in your case?
I think it was probably a combination. So you always
Okay.
have two parents, right, in a story. So I have my mom, who I love her to the bone. She was the strict one. She was the one trying to bring discipline into our family, into our lives. And my dad was the free spirit, and I'll go live, let live. If we didn't get what we wanted from mom, we would always go to dad and be like, well, what do you think? Do you think we can go shopping? Do you think I can have 20 euros? So we always, I had the mix, right? And it wasn't easy because we also came from a different background, right? We moved a lot of different places. We were part of a lot of different cultures, and that brought a dynamic with it as well, because my parents also had to adjust having their kids in a different atmosphere than them where they grew up, and the expectations are different and the requirements are different. So we had a bit of a mixed bag. The one thing that I would say really helped on the judgment and it was to communicate. I'm a communicator. I'm a born communicator. I use my words to express myself, be it writing or be it talking to somebody. So for me it was important to communicate, and a part of that is also confess. So use that network of yours, that close tight inner circle, to confess and say, hey, somebody said this to me and I didn't really like it. How do I deal with that? Sometimes
Mhm.
just saying it, putting words to it, already helps to acknowledge it wasn't something good that happened to you,
Yeah.
right? And then it's another element of that is collaborate. So communicate, tell people, but also collaborate, because I'm not the only Indian girl who grew up in a European country. There are many more of us, and we all excel. And I had a CEO once upon a time who was from the Middle East. And when you follow these stories, you realize you're not the only one. So collaborate. Take inspiration, take whatever you want out of these stories, out of their lives, because it makes you feel less alone.
Mhm.
And I'm a strong believer that you need a support network. You need a backbone. They've done this great piece on health where they talk about people who live in the blue zones have a big support network, and that's why they live for so long. Same applies to us, right? We're going to
Exactly.
thrive and live long if we have that support network. We know who we
Yep.
can lean on. So
Yep.
sometimes leaning on is not just mom and dad and family and closest friends. Sometimes you can find people to lean on who have a story similar to yours. And I think that's a critical part of, so communicate, confess, accept and admit what you have confronted. We all
Mhm.
do. I don't think early in my career I was not strategic enough. Maybe I wasn't strategic enough, but that was a learning golden that I set for myself. Then it was Karnika's very dominant. Now it's very interesting. I had a leader recently who turned the tables and said, I don't think that Karnika is dominant. I think Karnika is clear about what she wants. And if she was
Yeah.
a guy, you would accept who she is
Yeah.
and what she says. But because you're a
Mhm.
woman, you label it.
Yeah.
Because she's a
Thanks.
woman, you label it and you immediately think she's dominant. So I think a lot of what was early career has turned around for me, but it's also, again, going back to communicate. It's okay to say it and collaborate. So don't feel that you're alone.
Yeah.
And I think I said this to you. I'm open for anybody who feels the need to reach out to me and say, hey, Karnika, I had this horrible thing happen to me. I will definitely talk to you. I may not directly be able to connect because I don't, know the situation, but reach out to somebody. Please don't
Mhm.
be alone in it.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned there's two things that are coming to me from what you are saying. That is, first of all, if you want to break boundaries or if you want to thrive in life, first of all, it is so important that you have a vision and a mission, that you have a vision of how you relate to yourself, how you relate to others, and how you relate to the world and to the universe and to spirit, if you are ready for that. So if you don't have that, you probably also don't even feel the urge to break boundaries, because if you don't think of about that, if you don't reflect, you just do your daily things like it has always been, and you stay in that comfort zone. And the second one absolutely is to build your community of support. And this is something that, especially when you are an entrepreneur, when you have a very demanding job, which a lot of us have, because we have our jobs on top of family life and a lot of other things. We are caretakers for children, for our parents sometimes, for the family in general. And so we feel that we have no time to
Mm,
build those connections. And it is about taking the time for that, because if you don't take time for that, you will lose time in many other areas and levels, because you are not effective and efficient in what you want to achieve or in how you want to self actualize. And this is something that we forget. We like, oh no, we're so busy, and it's Friday, I'm tired. And it is all about, reaching out, connecting, and keep those connections going, not by calling every week, but by like now and then having this meaningful conversations with people. This is something that I'm very alert on. I am a solopreneur as well, and I live on the top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. So if I don't take care, I'm like completely isolated with my animals, with my dog and my chickens and my cat and my fruit trees. And I'm perfectly happy doing that. But it doesn't bring like the spirit and the soul. And this month, so in June, I had 3 co-creation weekends with like-minded women. So also creators, entrepreneurs that are serving mainly women and mainly in the area of personal growth. And we were just being together for 3, 4 days and exchanging, sharing things, basically also giving to the others what we normally do with our clients and vice versa. So there was a lot of transformational work going on here in these 3 co-creation weekends. And it was so nourishing, so rejuvenating, so also bringing the idea like I'm going to take action, I'm going to add rituals to my daily habits and to my life that are very intentional in order to set boundaries, because we are talking about no boundaries, but we also have to set boundaries in terms of what is important to us in terms of kind of protecting that boundaries on time, on how people can invade our lives, yes or no, things like that. So there's a lot of reflection work needed in order to sort all these things out and in order to develop the vision to create and design your life outside the norms, outside the societal norms, and then indeed break the boundaries and just go for it, like you tell. Does that resonate? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think that I could definitely learn something from that, because I have to admit, having 2 kids, Friday evening is like, where's the bed? Where's the pillow? Where's a
Mm,
good book? And where are we going to call it a day? So I could definitely learn from what you just said. And I think that there are moments when you have the opportunity to have it the least, when you cannot access it, that you crave it the most. So you really,
exactly.
I crave it now more than ever to be with a lot of people, to communicate with a lot of people, because we have such tight schedules and such busy lives. But I think it's going back to your original point, right? Life is phases, right? I know, and
Yes.
you've done a piece on this earlier this month as well. Life is all about phases, right? We're in a
Yes.
current phase in our lives where this is status quo, right? But the path is set. I know what I want to do. I know where I'm going as a professional, but also as a mother and as a wife. You have a vision. You have to have a
Mhm.
vision, because, or at
Exactly.
least for me, it's very important, because if I don't have a vision, then again, I've bound myself to this is how it's going to be. You have to accept there's going to be phases. You're going to take time to get to your vision, but accept that you live each phase.
Exactly. It's not linear. It goes like that. And I would say it goes like in a flow. When you can accept that, it goes like in a flow. But when you are intentional and when you keep that vision in mind, you make this like quantum leaps and things move on. But like you say, absolutely, it's phases, and it is nothing to be ashamed of or to feel guilty if you are in a status quo. The thing is, like you say, if you have this vision, if you keep that in mind, opportunities will arise. If you keep your vision bright and clear and attractive, things will show up that you say, hey, that's an opportunity. I might make like a jump. I might lose now this status quo phase. There are resources, there are opportunities. It is about being open to them. And the only way to be open to them is to have that vision, because if not, you won't see the opportunities because it won't keep you busy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that, as you said, being an entrepreneur, that becomes even sharper, right? So you have to sharpen your pencil even more, because I've worked for corporates for 18 years and I've learned so much from the process, but you always have a direction that's set by somebody else.
Mhm.
Now, everybody in my team turns around and looks at Karnika even more so on where are we going? What's the direction, right? So I better have my vision and my story straight and our direction straight, but at the same time, stay very flexible and adaptable, because, again, I don't know everything. I'm not always right. I have to accept that I'm also wrong and actually put words to it, but then
Yeah.
also be open to taking other people's directions, because we have to stay nimble because phases will change. Today,
Exactly.
everybody's talking about sustainability. Tomorrow, maybe everybody will be acting about sustainability. Phases in life, phases in business change.
Exactly.
And you have to remain nimble to them. And
Yeah.
as long as you know where you're going, you'll be fine.
But you made a big change because 18 years of corporate life and then start your own business is also pretty boundary breaking because I guess just like me, you probably heard a lot of, really, are you going to do that? And you just build all this credibility and you build your reputation and you are like safe. And this is like something that you continue. Are you going to throw all this away, etc., etc.? I had that when I started my own business. I had that when I changed my business, when I focused on something else. I had that when I came to Spain to build a business to build my coaching business in a completely different way. So I guess you heard that too. What are you doing? And maybe you don't hear it because not everybody is so explicit, but you can see it sometimes watching body language. Okay, this is something that surprises people or that scares people. I know people who don't take that leap or take that jump because partners don't like it, because they're afraid that you will be working a lot harder, a lot more, or you will not bring the same financial security as you have for the last couple of years, and you have to start over, and it's et cetera, whatever. So how is it for you in order to make that jump? And again, what were your traits that helped you to do that?
It's it's so beautiful how you captured all of these points, Helena. Eh, by the way, nobody was subtle to Karnika. Nobody's ever subtle to Karnika because Karnika misses a lot of cues. We a lot of people are the exact question, why now, Karnika? Why would you do it? Seriously, you're like you could go very far. I have an uncle, he always said, Karnika, you have the capability of being a CEO. And I said, I don't want to be a CEO. I want to be a CMO. And he said, but why not? Why won't you just do it? And I said, because I want to be a CMO. I believe in my discipline. This is what I want to be. It's the same with this. I knew straight off, this is something that's been brewing for 10 years. And it's been an idea, a vision, when now felt like the right time. It's never the right time. I have a 1 year old at home. So it's
Mm,
never the right time. But if I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't have done myself justice. I wouldn't have done my vision justice because now I had all the opportunities laid out for me. I
mm,
had supporters. One of the key supporters is my partner because he
wonderful.
straight off said, we're going to do this. And if it means that we're going to have to tighten the screws a little bit and have less vacations and cut back on things, then so be it. Um, and sometimes we're just going to have to lean in all together and figure it out. But I
Yeah,
stand by you and I support you. And if you don't do it now, I don't want us to grow old that you will always dream about, hey, what if I'd done it then? So
exactly.
go
Mm,
do it. Because here's the other thing, right? Life is phases. And at a certain phase in our lives, our kids are going to be all grown up and out there. And our 1 year old is going to be 25 and she's going to have her own life. But mama and papa are still going to be together. And we have to figure out and we have to remember that we did right by us as
mm,
people as well. To any parents out there, please do right by yourselves and your kids, but also by yourself. And what that was the courage. That was me throwing in the towel and saying, I'm just going to do this. Confidence, I don't think I lack. I'm afraid. I think I'm on the other end of the spectrum. If they ever do a test, they'd be like, oh God, she's falling off the spectrum. No, I was confident on my idea because I think we've identified a gap in the market. That's what I've been good at for the last 18 years. So I just use that to identify the gap that my business should fit in. I communicated. I reached out to a lot of members of my old team, and I have my old team on board for a part as well in the new business. A lot of old friends. I have had the pleasure over 18 years to meet some of the best professionals. And my dream is that Bridge Insight would be a place to hang your hat, open your laptop and say, we're going to do our best today to drive the business in this company, and then go home and be with your families and say, I actually do something I like doing.
mm,
That's what I want for each and every one of those professionals. And a lot of them, when they're going to be watching this, they know exactly who they are. And then, I also, I think, charted out a plan. So there was no doubt that I needed to have something on paper. I have this massive scroll on the wall, which I use because I'm a writer. I have 100
yeah,
post-its here. I built out my plan. What was it going to look like? Where are we going to be? What are we going to do before the end of this year? What are we going to do in November? What's going to happen after that? I need to have a very clear plan, and because uh, maybe it's self-preservation, right? But my brain has ideas shooting in all directions. If I don't build a plan, I'm going to get lost in my own mind. So I
Yeah.
built out that plan. And then I think the last but not least was we celebrated. We
Mm.
celebrated the fact that I was going to do this. We celebrated the fact that this is a happy moment because I'm going to need it. We're all going to need it when the times are not as happy or as
Yeah.
good. So I think it was that combination that has kept us going. We're also grateful for everybody who put their trust in us. We literally started day one and we already had customers. So that's an absolutely un, unknown situation. We didn't expect it and it happened to us and we're grateful for it. Of course, we worked hard for it.
Wonderful. Yeah.
We are going live with some of our first projects as early as July. So we've only been a company for a few months and we're going live. So that's a big deal as well. And we have an amazing network of people who want to roll up their sleeves and help.
Mm.
So I think
Well,
that's the most important thing. If anything, I have learned from my dad is that he's been one of those people who helps without setting a if I do this for you, you're going to do this for me. You
yeah.
know, he sees the intrinsic value of a network. The intrinsic
Mm.
value of a network is you do things for somebody, that person will remember and will help you back when you need it.
Yeah.
You don't have to write it down. You don't have to put words to it. You don't have to put it in their face. Sometimes there is that intrinsic value of a network. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm grateful for my network is that we've got a website up and running in 4 weeks. It was unbelievable. We had a look and feel and a brand book put together by a very young lady very quickly. The things that Karnika is absolutely not good at, I could make a phone
You
call. I
delegated
need
and
help.
you knew the people already that could help you there. This is basically activating your network of support. That's beautiful. Wonderful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I said, we celebrate every win.
Yeah.
We celebrate Fridays. So my team is pretty remote. I have two members of my team in the US. I've got somebody in the UK. I've got team here in the Netherlands, and now we're looking to expand into to other regions. And we don't get to physically be together. That's just the
Hmm.
circumstances and the situation that we work in, the high speed lives we live in.
Yeah.
So what we do is we call each other on WhatsApp on Fridays and we have a moment together. One's wearing
Yeah.
a baseball cap, the other one's got a glass of coffee, the other one's got a wine. That's mostly me, but we're taking a moment
Yeah.
um, to be together, to
Just
be
to
a team.
connect. Yeah.
Yeah,
And to be a team. That's beautiful. That's
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
So
You mentioned that you work with the five C's. I heard some already. There's the courage, there's the confidence, there's communication. What's the fourth one? I think the last one is celebration.
yep, chart out a plan.
Chart out a plan. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. So basically, these are things that are easy to remember and that are very good guidelines also for the people who are watching this or who are listening to this talk show. If you can really integrate and embody these five principles: confidence, courage, communication, chart out a plan, and
Celebration.
celebration, then you can go a very far way. And it is about doing this together, doing this with other people in order to basically take the best out of everybody and synergize it. It goes a lot further than the mathematics or of 1 + 1 is 3. If you are really in a positive spirit with a vision and with a mission together, you can actually move mountains. Sometimes literally, I feel. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right. You are
Mm.
absolutely right. I think
Yeah.
and we have mountain missions to overcome as a society, and I think that we need to
Absolutely.
recognize that where we
Yes.
are now we have mountains ahead of us that we need to change, that we need
Yeah,
to move if we want to continue to live lives as we do.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I would say we will. I would hope we do not continue live the lives like we do, because when you see what we have created with that in the world as a global and as humanity, it's not really a very nice thing. But if we could add courage and confidence and communication and plan and celebration to the world, all those different vibrations from all the people that do that, I do believe that we would create a different world, because this is what is needed in order to create a better world, and to create a better world, especially for women and children who are the victims of everything that is going on right now. And I liked what you said also. You have a 1-year-old, you have children. My son is grown, but still they look at us. Yeah, we are role models, whether we want it or not, whether we realize it or not, we are role models. So what we do and what we don't do and how we do it has such an impact on our children, because it's a very important part of how we educate them. So if they see people that are always in their comfort zone, that are always like in protection mode, afraid to do something different, how will they learn? How will they learn their way in the world? If they see parents that are liberated from all these constraints, and in that way also being very open to what children want to explore and experiment, that is really offering your children a full-blown potential and possibility to thrive and to become who they are really intrinsically and not who they are supposed to be. There's so many people who have the dreams for their children, who are very often the dreams or the things that they did not become themselves because they didn't have the opportunity. And it is with the best intentions. I'm very much aware of that. Most of it is with the best intentions, but it is pushing children, it is pushing people in a direction that is not their zone of genius, that is not where they really want to be. And so it's so important to realize the impact that we have on our families, on our communities, on our teams, or on our organizations. And so to show up as like mentally liberated from all these rules. Vishen Makiani from Mind Valley calls a lot of them rules, and they're like BS rules. He calls them rules like they have no sense. They're not relevant anymore. They don't apply to us anymore. They don't serve
Yeah.
us anymore. So shake them off. I really shake them off and live the life that you deserve to live and that you were meant to live, instead of living a life that others expect from you. And you will have a completely different radiance even. Yeah,
Absolutely. It's do it right by yourself, Elena, because at the end of the day, you're the only one who has to answer to you. Uh,
exactly. Yeah,
it's you can, and to your original point, right? Boundaries. You have to live boundless. That the only way we're going to get boundlessly, right? Without the boundaries, because having all of those points that you just mentioned are the boundaries that we create.
exactly. Mhm.
Those are the very essence of boundaries, as the word in English. So I think you're right. We have to live by what we believe in and whatever that is and overcome. And here's another one to add to my 5 C's, right? Is a sixth one, cry. It's okay to cry. It is absolutely okay to cry when you're angry. It's okay to cry when you're upset. Embrace every emotion. Let it out.
Mhm.
Park it. Move on.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
exactly.
nothing wrong with that, because I think we women get told very easily, "Oh, God, is she gonna cry now?" Um,
Mm.
it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
That's beautiful. So in one talk show, we also broke a boundary in terms of from 5 C's, we went to the 6 C's. So that's amazing. That's
Yep.
amazing. It is so important. It is so important to realize this. And I thank you so much, Karnika, for bringing this and for bringing your story and for showing up who you really are and for not taking anything that's keeping you from speaking your truth. And I'm sure that this is absolutely inspirational for many people that are watching this or that are listening to this. And so I cannot thank you enough. And I can only say, break more boundaries, just jump over them, go around them, and live your life, because you live a beautiful life and you're doing amazing things. And it is a sort of inspiration for so many of us. Thank you so much for being here with your 5 and now 6 C's and for bringing your story so authentically. You rock.
Thank you so much, Helena. Thank you for everybody who listens to us, and it's great. It's always great talking to you.
Absolutely. So stay with us. We are here on a weekly basis, bringing, as you see, extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. So thank you and bye for now.